In Hebrew scripture, deep sleep is not a medical term. It is the word tardima, a sacred God-induced state, not chemical sedation, not anesthesia, not sensory shutdown. This is the sleep of revelation, the slumber where spirit listens and matter waits. Anesthesia belongs to the realm of numbing. Tardima belongs to the realm of altered consciousness, a descent inward, not a collapse downward. One numbs pain, the other opens perception. And then comes the word sella, often translated as rib, side, or portion. But the deeper meaning is not mathematical, not 50%, not a divided remainder. Sella means one complementary side of an originally unified whole, not a reduction, a sacred partition of a paired unity. To confuse sella with arithmetic half is to confuse poetry with percentages. To confuse tardima with anesthesia is to confuse initiation with the operating room. There is also the word tselem, T-S-E-L-E-M. This means image, form, representation, as in man was created in tselem of divine intelligence. This is the blueprint of soul identity, the archetypal mold, not flesh, not sky council, not extraterrestrial royalty. Before history, there are forces. Before biology, there are forms. Forms preceding genetics. Forces preceding planets. The ancients called them gods. The Hebrews called it law, image, portion, and deep inward sleep. Tardima is the threshold. Sella is the counterpart. Selam is the pattern. And none of these imply anesthesia, mathematics, or alien engineering. They are linguistic fingerprints of cosmic processes, written in symbols the soul could step into without yet understanding the machinery behind them. When Genesis 2:21 describes tardima, it shows Adam being drawn into a divine trance. When Genesis 2:22 names Sela, it shows formation arising from the sacred side, not the numbed half. One conceals consciousness through numbing. The other condenses consciousness through descent, so it can re-expand through comprehension, like seed before soil. The question was never, were the Anunnaki real? The question was, which cosmic force descended into symbol? And here, in Hebrew, we find the answer, not beings. Forces, not surgery, thresholds, not mathematics, unity expressing itself through duality in a moment of deep, sacred, cosmic sleep. Not all that sleeps is unconscious. Not all that splits is diminished. And not all that is named is embodied. The classroom was myth. The curriculum is soul. The soul wakes not because it was managed, but because tardima allowed it to turn inward long enough to receive what anesthesia can never impart: presence, comprehension, and return. Now, this is where I might lose some of you, because I'm going to be speaking from an esoteric, occulted stance. And the occulted stance is a stance of spiritual science, not the materialistic physical science. Spiritual science perceives into the invisible realms, the higher realms. So here we go. Now, Adam and Eve, and basically the entire book of Genesis, is describing events that unfolded in the spiritual realms, not on terra firma, not on physical earth. First, there was man, capital M, capital A, capital N, also known in the Kabbalah as the Adam Kadmon, spirit man. Eve, or Heva, came along, and what Hebrew term used to describe this splitting is tsela, T-S-E-L-A. It means taking a portion of something that was originally whole. So Eve, or Heva, was taken from the original one unit, which was Adam Kadmon, or man. Tsela, T-S-E-L-A, is used throughout the Hebrew Bible, and not once does it refer to a bone or a rib. This is the first mistake that the Anunnaki Adam's rib group makes. Again, this separation, this Eve being taken from the one original unit, takes place in the spiritual realms. Now, later, when you have the separation of the sexes of man and woman, that does take place on Earth. And that separation began during the third root race, which was the Lemurian root race. That is when the original androgynous human split into man and woman. So you have the spiritual realm of Adam and Eve, and then you have the separation of the genders, man and woman, actually taking place on Earth during the third root race, which was the Lemurian root race. The Lemurian root race preceded the Atlantean root race. So don't get confused about Adam and Eve taking place in the higher spiritual realms, and the man and woman separating on physical Earth during the Lemurian root race. So yes, in our far, far distant past, we were androgynous, both sexes contained in one unit. That is why today a man has estrogen, the female hormone, and a woman has testosterone, the male hormone. Because at one time, we were androgynous. Both sexes were combined in one unit. So this fact of man having estrogen today and woman having testosterone today stems back from our distant, archaic past.